everybody, and welcome to episode 71 of Community Service Hour here. We've got a couple great topics, and I know we've passed 70, we've passed 69. What's the next big number, right? So, also, today's the kickoff of NFT NYC 2023. This is the post-2022 world, right? So that's interesting. We got a few great topics on here. We've got a blog post. This is the final installment of our series about a backdoor we found in OpenSea. So let's put it on blast. OpenSea has a backdoor. Here's the blog post on that. We announced this a couple months ago. OpenSea shared storefront backdoor. This backdoor is only related to NFTs that you create on OpenSea, and that's using something called a shared storefront or also OpenStore. OpenSea has this backdoor, and first, let's just look at the best practice violation right here, is that on their shared storefront, also known as OpenStore, the code's not verified, so you can't read their smart contract. And one day, on my way to Mexico, on the plane, I don't know why I was doing this on a plane, but I decided I was going to decompile the contract, read the bytecode, read the things in there, and then see if there's a problem. I don't know why I suspected that this was going to have a problem in it, but it was just such a high volume, high profile smart contract that wasn't verified. And I was like, there's got to be something nasty in here. And we got one. Backdoors are interesting. They're fun because they're hackable and, they're theoretical and they're, the things that could happen. But this is a permissioned backdoor, which means that they have access to do a thing. It's not like where a developer puts in a backdoor and then they scam everybody and they go take that. This is more like the administrator knows they have a backdoor and they use it however they want. So officially, banks have backdoors. Banks can just take your money. They can delete your account. They can disappear you, right? So a backdoor is another word. A backdoor that an administrator has is another word for a centralized system. Okay, so OpenSea, if you mint NFTs on OpenSea, that is a centralized system. And so that's a very important difference than what a lot of people think. Oh, this is decentralized, NFTs, blockchain, future, fairies, unicorns, moon dust, right? No accountability, don't need to follow laws. SEC will never come after me because this is a smart contract, right? These things just build and build and build on this fairyland. Here I am demonstrating that this is a centralized system. And so the second blog post, which just drops today, is, well, if this is a centralized system, and OpenSea is more like a bank, well, is there any activities that happened on OpenSea that, they could have but didn't stop? I found an entity that was sanctioned. They're on the specially designated nationals list, and they did do a transaction on OpenSea. Item 2, self-healing code, artificial general intelligence.
Well, hey everybody. So we were discussing a little bit earlier on in the call about the big trending topics on GitHub right now, which are these implementations of using the GPT-4 API to build agents that kind of talk to themselves and build stuff iteratively over time. And I had built something similar in a smaller way a couple weeks ago, and I just wanted to share how these systems might work, at least in a simplified fashion. Basically, it takes a user input, and then it runs this loop for self-healing the code that it makes, and then it'll store the solutions in a local folder.
All right, let's look up recent stock closing prices for Tesla.
Okay, so we've given it 10 attempts of this kind of back and forth thing that it will do. And the first thing it does is get suggestions. So I ask it to write pseudocode for the task. that basically says like, don't use APIs, don't go too long, et cetera, et cetera. And then some boilerplate for making suggestions. And the suggestion says, make suggestions and recommendations written out in detail, list the steps to take, write in pseudocode, but don't write the actual code. Given this output, it got this error, so it's unable to find the closing price, but I guess it did, at least it didn't get a 200 error, so maybe it gets to the website. It also wrote tests based on the script it wrote. The second suggestion, pseudocode example. And so this will keep going in a loop until the code and the tests aren't generating errors.
Have you thought about sandboxing your Python runtime just in case GPT injects something not friendly? Like one time I had asked it, just give me a command for finding like the file extension of files, and it gave me one, but it also included an RMRF for it at the very end of it that erased
Oh man.
It wasn't, that if I blindly ran that wouldn't have been a good day.
Right. Yeah, I don't have that kind of check. It hasn't gotten close to anything like that yet, but yeah, it's a good point. Gotta be careful. First, it'll try running the test, and if the tests generate errors, then it'll go into like the give me suggestions loop, and it'll go into the suggestions. There's a function that loops over this iteration over and over until there's no errors, with a final output that's working.